discuss the final AI report of the 2024 season. Don't forget to subscribe to the page before starting the program. All right, so picture this. A world where cars are like mobile devices on wheels, or imagine testing an airplane's durability without actually crashing it a bunch of times.
Yeah, like a dozen test crashes. No need for that.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the kind of future intelligent product testing is creating. And today, we're taking a deep dive into the 2024 World Quality Report to see what it all means, especially, what it means for you.
Well, what's fascinating about this report is that it's got like two sides to it. One side shows us the big trends in quality across 32 countries.
Wow, it's a lot of countries.
It is. And the other side, it really digs into the details of how quality's changing out there in the real world. We're talking insights from 150 executives.
This is a pretty comprehensive view of what's going on. Okay, so let's get into this value over volume thing the report keeps talking about. It says businesses are moving away from just pushing out products and more towards, really focusing on the customer experience and long-term success. What does that actually look like for someone working in, say, software development?
It's a pretty big change in how you think about your work. You're not just trying to hit deadlines and ship out features as fast as you can. It's more about, how those features actually make the product better for the user long term.
So you're saying it's about building something that solves a real problem that people will keep using.
Exactly. It's about thinking long term. Like, are you building something that's, going to last? And will people actually want to use it in the long run? That's what the report is pushing for.
So it's like switching gears from like a sprint to a marathon, right?
Yeah.
You got to think about keeping up the pace, not just going all out for a short burst.
Perfect analogy. And the report really dives into how this shift affects things like agile methodologies. Everyone's talking about agile, but are companies really ready for it?
That's a good question.
Yeah. The report points out that there's a real gap in knowledge when it comes to agile testing processes.
So it's not enough to just say, hey, we're doing Agile. You've got to have the processes in place, and even more importantly, the people who understand how to make it work.
Absolutely. Agile's all about adapting quickly to change, but if your testing practices can't keep up, you're going to hit a wall.
Right. It'll all fall apart.
Exactly. The report suggests that having a more product-based quality engineering setup is key. That means testing is really integrated with development, which is essential for making Agile actually work.
Makes sense. And that brings us to another important topic, the skills gap in quality engineering. The report says there's a huge need for quality engineers who have development skills. We're talking coding in things like C#, Java, Python, and they need to be familiar with things like CI/CD and BDD, TDD.
Yeah, those are becoming really important.
Right. And for anyone who might not know, CI/CD is basically about automating your development process so you can release updates faster and more reliably. And BDD and TDD, these are ways of developing software where you write tests first. That helps make sure your code actually does what it's supposed to.
Exactly. And these aren't just like trendy terms. They're really the backbone of how software is built these days.
So it's like the report is saying that quality engineers really need to speak this language fluently. Traditional testing skills are still important, but they're not enough in this world that's so fast-paced and automated.
Exactly. They need that broader skill set to be truly effective.
So it's like quality engineering is becoming more intertwined with development itself, and testers need to, level up their skills to keep pace. Speaking of leveling up, let's talk about the big one, AI. The report says that a whopping 77% of organizations are putting money into AI for quality assurance.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's massive.
It really shows how important AI is becoming in this field. And what's interesting is that the main reason for using AI seems to be to boost productivity and speed. It's like companies are saying, we need AI to help us keep up with how fast development is moving.
So it's seen as a way to make the whole quality engineering process faster and more efficient.
Right.
But the report does mention that some people are skeptical about AI, right?
Yeah, definitely. And it's important to acknowledge those concerns. While AI has tons of potential, there are worries about things like privacy, and the possibility of bias creeping into AI's results.
Right, that's a big one.
Yeah. The report actually suggests a more cautious approach to using AI. Start small, try things out, see where AI really adds value, and then gradually scale up from there.
So it's about being smart about how you use this powerful tool. It's not a magic solution that will fix everything overnight.
Exactly.
Okay, and then the report highlights another big trend, the rise of cloud testing. Apparently, 82% of organizations now see cloud testing as a must-have, not just a nice-to-have.
It makes total sense when you think about how much we rely on the cloud for everything these days. More and more applications are moving to the cloud, which means you have to make sure those applications are reliable, secure, and can handle data recovery properly.
So it's like cloud testing is becoming essential for making sure everything runs smoothly in this cloud-based world.
That's it.
It seems like quality engineering is adapting to this bigger picture of how technology is changing. Businesses are moving towards agility, AI, cloud-based systems, and quality practices need to keep up.
Absolutely. And the report really stresses that these trends are all linked together. You can't think of AI or cloud testing on their own. They're part of this larger system that's shaping the future of quality engineering.
It's all connected.
Exactly. Just like the products themselves are becoming more interconnected, the report talks about intelligent product testing, which basically means testing needs to be more comprehensive to keep up with how products are getting more complex and integrated. Think about cars, for example.
Yeah, cars are a great example.
The car isn't just a car anymore. It's like a computer on wheels. It's packed with software, sensors, and it's connected to everything.
So many systems working together.
Right. And because it's so complex, quality engineers need to make sure it all works perfectly. That means ensuring things like cybersecurity, a smooth user experience, and that all the components are working together seamlessly.
And it's not just cars, right? It's medical devices, appliances, basically everything. It's all getting smarter and more connected, which means quality engineering has to be right there on the front lines of this evolution.
Exactly. It's an exciting time to be in this field.
Definitely. The report also touches on another topic that's becoming really important. It's just sustainability.
Yeah, and what's interesting is that there's a growing awareness of how quality engineering can contribute to making things more sustainable, but there's still a gap between awareness and actually doing something about it.
So companies know sustainability is important, but they're not quite sure how to make it part of their quality processes.
Right. They need a clear plan. The report calls for things like clear metrics, transparent reporting, and really integrating sustainability into every part of the development process. It's not just about good intentions anymore. It's about actually taking concrete steps to reduce the environmental impact.
So it's about moving beyond just talking about sustainability and making it a core value in everything you do,
Yeah,
including quality engineering.
absolutely.
Okay, let's zoom in on some specific things the report found. There's a pretty interesting shift happening in priorities when it comes to automation. Last year, the top priority was reducing time to market. This year, it seems like that's taken a back seat.
Yeah, it looks like companies are already moving as fast as they can, and now they're more focused on dealing with technical debt and trying to get more out of their IT budgets.
So it's more about making things efficient and cost-effective,
Yeah.
especially with all the economic uncertainty going on.
Right, making the most of what they've got.
Exactly. And there's another interesting finding about the impact of AI. The report says AI is being used less than expected for tasks like reducing defects and improving test reliability, which seems kind of counterintuitive, right?
Yeah, you'd think that would be a primary focus, but it could be a sign of how priorities are changing in this agile world.
So maybe companies are becoming more tolerant of defects if they can be fixed quickly. Like the focus is shifting toward iterating quickly and continuously improving rather than trying to get everything perfect from the start.
Yeah, that's a really interesting point. Is like finding that balance between speed and quality, understanding that perfection might not be possible when things are moving so fast. The important thing is that those defects can be found and fixed quickly so that they don't impact the user too much.
So it's not enough to just be a tester anymore. You've got to be a problem solver, someone who collaborates well, and really be embedded in that development process. It's a much more dynamic role. And this shift really highlights the need for quality engineers who have those development skills. They need to not only find and report defects, but work side by side with developers to resolve them quickly. The report really emphasizes that need for quality engineers who can bridge that gap between testing and development.
It's becoming a hybrid role for sure.
It sounds like the future of quality engineering is all about having a mix of skills, blending that traditional testing knowledge with development expertise. This is fascinating stuff. We've covered a lot of ground already.
We have.
We've talked about the changing world of quality engineering, the rise of AI, how important sustainability is becoming. And that brings us to the end of part 1 of our deep dives into the World Quality Report.
In the next part, we're going to zoom in and look at how these trends are playing out in specific industries. It's going to be a fascinating journey, so definitely stick around.
Welcome back to our deep dive into the 2024 World Quality Report.
We've been talking about all these big trends that are shaping quality engineering. Yeah, and now it's time to see how those trends are actually playing out in different industries. Let's start with one that's going through some massive changes, the automotive industry.
Yeah, the car is becoming so much more than just transportation.
Right, it's practically a mobile device on wheels. All that software, sensors, connectivity, it's incredible.
Really changing everything.
Absolutely. And all of this is having a huge impact on quality engineering in the automotive world. The report highlights a couple of key areas of focus. One is time to market. With all the innovation happening, getting new products out there quickly is super important.
Makes sense.
But it can't come at the expense of quality. Customers today, they expect a seamless, flawless experience.
So you've got to be fast, but you can't cut corners.
Exactly. It's like walking a tightrope.
Yeah.
And that's where a more holistic approach to quality engineering comes in. The report talks about having these end-to-end testing ecosystems.
And virtual testing environments too, right?
Yes, that's key. To simulate all these real-world scenarios and make sure everything works together perfectly.
It's like they're creating digital twins of the cars to test every little thing before they even hit the road.
Exactly. And this digital-first approach, it's crucial for dealing with all the complexity, all the connected car features, autonomous driving, and all the software in modern vehicles.
Yeah, it's not just about the hardware anymore.
No, it's the whole system. The hardware, the software, the user experience, everything has to be perfect.
It's fascinating how the lines between hardware and software are getting blurred, not just in cars, but in so many industries.
Yeah, it's everywhere.
Speaking of blurring lines, let's move on to another industry that's being reshaped by technology: consumer products and retail.
Oh, for sure.
Think about how much our shopping habits have changed in just a few years.
Oh, yeah. This sector has been through a lot, especially with the pandemic speeding up the whole shift towards online shopping. Remember when everything was out of stock?
Oh, yeah. It was like the phrase of the year.
I know, right? And all that disruption put a lot of pressure on supply chains. Businesses had to adapt really quickly. The report highlights how this led to a renewed focus on quality and efficiency in manufacturing.
So it's not just about getting products out the door as fast as possible anymore. It's about being reliable, even when things get disrupted.
Exactly. And that's where AI and automation come in. The report talks about how companies are using AI to forecast demand, manage inventory, even optimize their manufacturing processes to reduce waste.
It sounds like the industry is realizing that quality is essential for being resilient and successful in the long run.
Absolutely. And it's not just about the product itself, it's the whole customer experience, from browsing online to delivery, even customer service.
It's every touch point.
Yeah, creating a smooth, positive experience all the way through. And quality engineering is crucial for making that happen.
So quality is this big holistic concept now. Okay, let's shift gears to an industry that literally keeps our world running: energy and utilities.
This is an industry that's always been focused on quality. I mean, the services they provide are so essential, but even they are embracing digital transformation, exploring new ways to do quality engineering.
What are some examples of how they're using AI and automation?
Well, the report mentions things like using AI to optimize power plant performance, to reduce energy losses during transmission, and to make those utility services more reliable.
So making a vital sector even more efficient and sustainable.
Exactly. And it's not just about efficiency, it's about safety too.
That's got to be a top priority.
Absolutely. The report talks about how AI can be used for predictive maintenance to prevent equipment failures and keep those essential services running.
Mitigating risks.
Exactly. Making sure everything runs smoothly and safely. That's a huge responsibility. Now, let's switch to an industry that's been a leader in AI financial services.
Yeah, they've been all over AI for a while now.
This is a sector that's always been data-driven and really careful about risk, so it's interesting to see how they're approaching AI implementation.
I imagine it's a balancing act.
Mhm.
They want to leverage the power of AI, but they have to be super careful about managing risk.
Exactly. And the report shows that financial institutions are using AI mainly for things like assessing risk, making processes more efficient, and improving the customer experience.
So using AI strategically to improve efficiency, reduce costs, and deliver better services.
Right. And the report really stresses how important testing and validation are to make sure those AI systems are reliable, secure, and meet all the regulations.
Especially in finance, where you're dealing with people's money and sensitive data.
Absolutely. Security is paramount. And all of this is creating demand for quality engineers with specialized skills, people who really understand AI testing and validation.
Another example of how the role of a quality engineer is changing.
Definitely. You have to keep learning and adapting.
So the need for specialized skills is something we're seeing across all industries. Now let's look at a sector that sometimes has a reputation for being a bit slower to adopt new technology, the public sector.
Government agencies and public institutions, they often face unique challenges. It's not always easy for them to implement digital transformation or adopt these new quality engineering approaches.
There's probably a lot of bureaucracy to deal
Yeah.
with, right?
Yeah, and they often have these legacy systems that are hard to update.
So what does the report suggest for overcoming those hurdles?
Well, it emphasizes the need for better collaboration between government agencies, IT departments, and the quality engineering teams.
Breaking down silos.
Exactly. And having clear ways to measure progress and show the value of these quality initiatives.
It's about building that case for quality, showing how it directly benefits people and makes the government more efficient.
Absolutely. It's about making a real difference in people's lives.
Okay, let's wrap up our industry tour with a sector that's been at the forefront of the digital revolution: technology, media, and telecommunications, or TMT as it's often called.
This is an industry that's always pushing the limits.
Always innovating.
Exactly. So it's no surprise they're embracing AI and automation in a big way.
They're always looking for ways to create more engaging experiences, to deliver services faster and more efficiently.
That's right. The report says TMT companies are using AI for all sorts of things, from personalizing content recommendations to optimizing network performance and enhancing customer support.
It's about using AI to create those personalized experiences and also make sure their services are reliable and efficient.
Exactly. Striking that balance between innovation and quality, making sure all these new technologies are being used responsibly and effectively.
So we've looked at a lot of different industries. What are some of the key takeaways from this deep dive into the report?
Well, it's interesting because the trends we're seeing, they're happening across the board. It doesn't matter what industry you're in. There's this clear shift towards a more agile, AI-driven, customer-centric approach to quality engineering.
It's like quality engineering is becoming this central nervous system of business in the digital age. It's not just about finding bugs anymore. It's about shaping how products and services are delivered, ensuring they're not only functional, but also reliable, secure, sustainable, and aligned with the needs of a world that's constantly changing. It's pretty amazing to see how quality engineering has gone from this behind-the-scenes role to being so front and center in how businesses operate, especially with all the technology we're using today.
It's definitely become much more dynamic. And what's really interesting is how this shift in quality engineering is happening right alongside all these other huge leaps in technology. I mean, when we're talking about cloud computing, AI, these interconnected systems that are getting more complex all the time.
Right, like it's all happening at once.
Exactly. And the more we depend on these technologies, the more important quality engineering becomes. It's about making sure these systems, as complex as they are, actually work the way they should, that they're reliable, secure, and that they're built with sustainability in mind.
It's like quality engineering is becoming the protector of trust in this digital world, right? We rely so much on technology now for everything, from personal data to those really important infrastructure systems, that we really need to feel confident that these systems will work the way they're supposed to.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. It's about trust. Quality engineering isn't just a technical thing anymore. It's a vital part of building and maintaining trust between companies and their customers, governments and citizens, even between technology and society as a whole.
It's a big responsibility.
Yeah.
So what does this all mean for the people listening? Anyone who works in a field that uses technology, even a little bit, needs to pay attention to these trends.
Absolutely. It's not optional anymore.
It's essential.
Mm.
And it's not just for developers or testers anymore. Whether you're a product manager, a business analyst, even a CEO, quality is everyone's responsibility now.
This World Quality Report, it's like a guidebook for navigating all these changes. It points out the skills you need, the challenges that are coming, and the opportunities that are opening up as quality engineering becomes so deeply integrated into how businesses work.
Right. And it doesn't matter what industry you're in, these trends are affecting everyone.
Exactly.
We highly recommend checking out the full report. It's full of great information. But for now, let's leave you with something to think about. As AI keeps getting more advanced, more integrated into our lives, what role will human intuition and judgment play in shaping the future of quality? Will it be a collaboration, a competition, or something else entirely?
That's a great question to ponder. And that brings us to the end of our deep dive into the World Quality Report.
Thank you for listening.
And remember, this series was put together using AI, so there might be a few little errors here and there.
You can always send us an email if you want to see the original reports.
And we'll be back next season with more deep dives into the world of quality engineering. So until then, goodbye.